In Consumer Corner, we take a look at trends creating a buzz online in China. On today's show, we'll look at the estimated budget for the 2 sessions and see what Chinese internet users have to say about it. The central government of China launched its austerity campaign over a year ago. The ongoing annual political event, the 2 sessions, has been no exception. People are watching closely how the government will spend its money. Unfortunately, the Chinese government never published how much the 2 sessions will cost each year, so we can only estimate the figure by using Chinese media. As Securities Market Weekly reports, usually the national finance would pay all the expenses during the 2 sessions. According to Chinese media, it was estimated the total cost would be at least 100 million yuan, or 16 million US dollars. Other media sources compared this 2 sessions to those from last year's, which were about 33 million US dollars. Let's look specifically at where this money is going. As Securities Market Weekly reports, in previous years, the central government would rent chartered airplanes to bring representatives to Beijing. There are about 3,000 representatives attending the meeting. If the average round-trip flight costs about $250, then the total cost would be about 750,000 US dollars. This year, the government's austerity campaign said they would stop paying for chartered airplanes and let representatives fly business class, or they could even take a train to attend the meeting in Beijing. Hopefully, these new measures would save on transportation costs. When representatives arrive in Beijing, usually the central government will rent a bus for them to travel between their hotels and the meeting place. Since each bus can carry 40 passengers, it will require 80 buses to carry all 3,000 representatives. Renting each bus can cost $320 a day. Therefore, the total expenses will be at least $230,000. Accommodation is another big expense. Representatives will usually stay in government-designated 4-star hotels. One night can cost around 160 US dollars. Since every 2 representatives share one room, the total cost during the meeting would be at least 2 million US dollars. The meeting itself also sets up measures to keep the costs down. As China.com.cn reported, this year the 2 sessions stopped providing disposable paper cups for each representative. Instead, they sent each representative a bottle of water labeled with their names on it. Apart from that, green plants, flowers, red carpets, and other decorations have all been cut out to save costs. These are pretty small things and are mostly symbolic. But even if the government cuts down on the little things, they still have to invest a lot in security. As Securities Market Weekly reports, last year the government hired over 700,000 security personnel for the 2 sessions. Considering the cost for each security guard is about 10 yuan, or $1.60, the total security cost during the 12-day-long 2 sessions last year could reach 13 million US dollars. This year, the security budget would be much higher than last year. The Kunming terrorist attack last weekend motivated the Beijing municipal government to hire additional policemen for the event. With 2 recent attacks, there is increased concern in Beijing about threats from minorities in the Xinjiang province. The Ministry of Public Security has taken over command for both Xinjiang and Beijing for the event. Over 13 provinces have brought their policemen to this event. The large number of security forces will add up to a lot of spending. Chinese internet users also expressed their opinions about the 2 sessions. Some believe the political event costs too much. One wrote, quote, "I could understand why the government covers the living and transportation costs of representatives. But why should the central government also pay for their meals? Why not just let the representatives pay for it themselves?" Another Weibo user agreed, quote, "It was necessary for the government to pay for representatives' food costs 1 or 2 decades ago. That's because most of those people didn't have too much money. But now things have changed. Why shouldn't we let them pay for their living and food costs? The government should use this money to solve more important issues." However, some internet users don't think the 2 sessions cost too much. One wrote, quote, "This money could be spent on solving the country's problems and finding ways to develop our economy. Once these issues have been solved at the meeting, us ordinary people could still benefit from it." Another Weibo user said, quote, "I'm okay with spending money on the 2 sessions, as long as these representatives can speak for the public and try to find methods to solve social issues. But I do hope to publicize the expenses in the future." This year, the political event has shortened from 13 to 8 days to cut on costs. But as Chinese internet users point out, they don't actually mind if the 2 sessions spend a lot of money. The biggest concern for Chinese people is that their ideas get represented, and that the money isn't being wasted on frivolous items and agendas.